Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yep.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 2 a.m. in Sweden, aka We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty, with the one, the only, the Pirates fan himself, Steven at Steven_Springs. Steven, my man, how you been?
Good, man. Busy, just busy. Work, kids, swim team, pool every single day of our lives, but it's all good. Are you traveling? Are you going anywhere for the fourth? You do anything?
So I am. It's funny. I had a doctor appointment today, and the lady said, "Oh, are you doing anything for the fourth?" And I was like, "No," because normally I don't do much. It's just planned out trips. And then I said, "Oh, damn, my friend's bachelor party that's been last minute is this weekend, and we're going to Atlantic City."
Mm.
And then on Sunday when I get back, one of my other friends, he's proposing to his
Oh,
girlfriend. So me saying no to this lady, I was like, "Man, I definitely lied to you. I forgot how
no.
much I actually had going on." So. Yeah, that's how it is. And all I really want to do is go to where are they going to be? They're going to be at the Prudential Center
Oh,
in New Jersey. So Newark, New Jersey, the big three is going to be up there. And I wanted to go see the homies again, but we'll save that for another day. We have a lot to talk about, Steven, and we're going to start off with the hot topics of the day, which are the first one that I totally didn't even realize. I didn't know Jameer Nelson had a son, for starters. Second, I didn't know Jameer Nelson's son was in the summer league circuit right now. Um,
I did see that. I saw his name pop up a few months ago. I don't even know where I saw it at, but I did know that. That's how I kind of know that we're starting to get old.
you're
Not that we're there yet, but like a lot of these dudes that we saw, you know, like late 90s, early 2000s, are now their kids are now. I mean, LeBron's a perfect example. That's kind of crazy, even more so than like he's
it
playing with
is.
them. That whole thing is just nuts to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a ton of them. There's some in the league now. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
the NFL's getting like that too. Marvin Harrison Jr. It's not as
Yep.
crazy, but like still pretty nuts that it's Marvin Harrison's son.
Yeah. So the big thing for me, a lot of people talk about LeBron James, but Jameer Nelson is older than LeBron. And we saw Jameer when he first came into the league, when he was at like St. Joseph's
He was
with
nice.
Delonte West. Yeah. And then when he was on the Magic, and then he's out the league. So that was kind of one of the big ones. We'll, of course, get into the main topic of what's been going on in the summer. But because you're one of the biggest LeBron fans out there, I want to I want from your perspective to talk about everything that happened with that pick, and then I will talk about the nepotism side in sports and then in business.
um, yeah, I don't really care that he's playing with his dad. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
um, I know you don't have kids, but you've been around enough father son combos,
Hmm.
during doing what you do, um, to know that like, dude, yeah, doing like your favorite thing or like your like I don't know what you're really good at or like what you have a strong passion about with your kids is like a big deal. Um, doing it with your son, is different. I can only like LeBron is playing and is going to be playing his 21st season in the league,
That's
and he's been
insane.
playing with his son. Now, how much he'll play with him remains to be seen, but I can't wait for that first Bronny to LeBron fast break,
You know it's gonna happen.
off the glass, some shit, and it just like stop. You both LeBron can probably retire after that one, but
Hmm.
like I'm cool with it. Like it's the 55th pick, dude.
Yeah,
He was two picks away from not being drafted at all. Who gives a shit? Like,
that's the
it's not
thing.
like he
Yeah.
went number one overall. It's not like he went top 10. It was a lottery pick. It's not like he was even first round. He barely got drafted, and he's probably barely going to make the team.
Hmm.
Like, he's not guaranteed a spot, you know. So he's got to go through summer league, and Don't Connect is playing. Which, by the way, that's a incredible
Hey,
pick for them.
Connect Four, they did go with that one.
That is, I know Rob Palinka is getting a lot of shit for free agency. I'm not too concerned about it because they still have LeBron and AD. But that's a win for the Lakers getting Don't Connect.
Hmm.
He's a guy who's going to play right away. But I have no problem with the Bronny pick. the people who do like Bomani Jones they can get out of here because there's like, yeah, dude, there's no shit. There's nepotism everywhere in sports.
Yes. Yeah.
Everywhere, dude. How many fathers have gotten their sons coaching jobs because of who
Thank
they
you.
are?
Yeah.
Like, it's everywhere. Front offices, we don't have to go down that path. It is everywhere in sports. Business too. It's fucking everywhere, dude.
Hmm.
So I got no issues with it. The people who do just really want to be mad about something or they just hate their kids if they have
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. I fully agree with you on that. So the big thing, because I've seen it so many places where people are talking about LeBron doing this. Number one, LeBron has probably the best life that any sports person could have, because I don't know if most people have seen the headphones commercial when he's with Savannah, and then Lil Wayne's in that one. You get your wife in a commercial, she's getting paid for that. And then Bronny is able to get money too. You can People don't talk enough about then Giannis's brother. It's the same exact
Same shit,
thing.
dude.
Only thing is, one put it in contracts of, yeah, this is what my brother has to get. The other one, they honestly had to work for it. Bronny had to be semi decent to even get to the point. Is he better than some of the players that went undrafted? Probably not, but it's a second round pick. It'd be very different if it was top 10 and they reached and did something like that. And then there's so many people out there saying, oh, yeah, Bronny, before he had like the cardiac arrest and everything, he was a top 20 potential pick. That part is a little different. If you would have said Bryce, then I said, all right, we have a conversation here. But a big thing that I realized, and Steven talked about this, look at the Dallas Cowboys. From the owner to even the president, everyone is damn near Jones. You have that. And then even if you look at what's happening in the NBA in terms of some of the positions that people are getting, not on the LeBron James side, like Michael Jordan, the people he could end up bringing in, some of them don't have any credentials. Another thing you guys don't want to talk about is James Jones being with the Phoenix Suns. That was a LeBron James doing too, and then they won't bring that up. But that also shows you the amount of knowledge some people have for sports. They just stop at, oh, LeBron James, and all they see, the one you see a lot of comparisons for, is DJ Burns. That's the only one. And you're doing that because you saw what he did in those 4 to 5 games in the tournament. I promise you guys didn't see anything else. And then you're also like, oh, look who had 14 points. Let me also bring up the one female in the WNBA, Kais, who used to play for the Chicago Sky that everyone thinks looks so good, who is not good. That's another nepotism thing right there, because they were just bringing her in because she looked good. I've seen her play, respectfully, Jaylen Brown, that's you if you want it. She's not good at all. Like, she was in the game for maybe 2 minutes, didn't do anything. But a lot of people just want to go on this whole LeBron James thing. If that was your son or daughter and you were in any type of sports league, imagine running track. Think about if you were in the 4x4 100 relays and you got to end up passing the baton off to your child. That's one of the dopest things. One, they have to be fast enough to end up doing that. So in sports, Bronny couldn't be, I don't know, like your Joe that plays at LA Fitness. He has to be kind of decent. You saw him in New York as well, practicing with the top shooters. So he's going to be, I don't know, he's not going to be his dad, but he'll get a couple of points. I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he'll get a couple of million,
Yeah,
if
dude,
anything.
he's not gonna be LeBron. Like,
No.
he's not. Like, I think it's yeah, it's weird how people are so obsessed about him. Like, we knew it was coming, dude.
Yes,
We knew this was happening.
exactly.
Wait, he was like, LeBron's son was not like gonna not be drafted.
Hmm.
Like, he was gonna be drafted for sure.
Hmm.
Whether it was to the Lakers or not, which, like, come on, duh.
Hmm.
Like, come on. This has been in the works for a long time, probably.
Almost since he was born.
Like, bro, years, like decades,
Yeah.
almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not like I got no beef with the dude. I'm totally cool with it. We'll see how well it does in summer league, and then where at all he'll fit in with the team. Should he make the team, which I think he will, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, he's not gonna like they're not gonna start him over like D'Lo or like give him those minutes. Like, come on,
Yeah.
let's not be too dumb here.
Yeah. So what we're going to go into now is the fast break segment, and we're going to talk about the various different contracts and stuff that have happened in the NBA. And I'm going to use this also to segue into the financial realm itself. The first one that we're going to talk about, because we were talking before how this makes us feel old, also with Jameer Nelson, I really think the Klay Thompson one put a lot in perspective. When you see the pictures and videos that Steph Curry put out there, just of them over the years. And they won 4. I was going back and forth with my brother how they end up winning the 4. They legit won 1 before KD, 2 back to back, and then 1 after. And they're just no longer together. Like, they were little kids when they first came in the NBA together, and now they're gone. So, 1, what are your thoughts on the separation that we all knew was going to happen, but also 2, the contract he has with the Mavericks?
Yeah, I hated the Warriors for a long time. I still maintain if Kyrie and Caleb don't get hurt in 2015, Lakers or the Cavs win that one too. But I digress. Yeah, those types of things don't stay together forever, I guess, right? Look at the Pats. We all thought the Pats were gonna have Brady and Belichick forever until they died. That didn't happen. Happens a lot. But it is gonna be weird because not that those guys are getting like older, but like they are kind of, probably on the back stretch of their careers. Good for Clay though, getting an opportunity to go somewhere else. I think he'll thrive there between Luka and Kyrie. I think it's a really good fit for him. I think he can be like anything to be better than what Tim Hardaway gave you last year, but nonetheless, I think he'll have the same role in Dallas as he did in Golden State.
Exactly.
Like, he's not gonna be expected to create his own dribble, come off he's not gonna be they're not gonna ask him to be Steph. Like, just be Klay Thompson. Like, just get open, come across some picks, some screens, get to the corner, get to the elbow, boom, and then average 17, 20 points a game maybe, and have
he
a couple.
can do that.
Yeah, and have a couple of those, a handful of those 30 plus games, maybe a 40, have like 10 threes. It's gonna do the same shit you did in Golden State. Nothing's gonna change for him. So good for him though. I mean, I know everyone said Lakers, but it seemed like Dallas was probably gives them a better chance to get back to the finals than the Lakers did. But 3 years for 60?
Yeah, about that.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and these are not star players. Granted, Klay is really good, but these are not the number one player, and then they're getting that much money, because they were also saying Klay Thompson's not getting a lot compared to what some of these other random players in the NBA are getting. We'll go to one that's not a random player, Paul George. So he's going to Philadelphia. The first part about this is the Clippers just took L's every which way, whether it was trading for Paul George or also trading with Philly to end up getting James Harden and all of that debacle that happened, because Paul George signed for 4 years, $212 million. I'll let you talk about that, and then also talk about Tyrese Maxey signing for 5 years, $205 million.
Where's his money coming from?
I don't know.
How do teams have this kind of money?
Exactly.
And the Celtics are worse, but
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Paul George does. You know what I mean? Like, what does that make them favorites to come out of the East? Making the favorites to win the title? Like, I don't understand what
I don't really know.
If Klay Thompson goes to the Lakers, I think that is a bigger deal than this. He's been hurt, dude. So is Joel Embiid. Like, they're both hurt all the time. So like, if they were healthy and like they have both been playing a lot and playing really well and not been hurt, then sure, maybe this would be a different conversation, but they're hurt all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And you really only have to be available in the playoffs. And they have been, and they come up short. Even when Paul George was in Indy. They were toe-to-toe with the Heat, but came up short. Embiid, he's come up short a bunch of times. But he's also always hurt. So is Paul George. So sucks, but I mean, I hope it works. Like, I hope they are good. I don't want them to win, but like, I hope they're good. It'd be cool because both guys, have had battled the injuries. So it'd be, I have nothing against either one of those guys. I like Paul George. He was super dope in Indiana before the leg injury.
That's what everyone dreams of getting, and they're not going to get that Paul George.
No, yeah, that Paul George. Even he said this a long time ago. Like coming back from that first injury, he's like, no, I lost that as soon as I got hurt. But yeah, I hope they. And who knows how long Joel Embiid's knee is going to hold up?
I know.
It's made of rubber.
Yeah.
Crazy. So it sucks, but yeah, I hope they do well. Tyrese Maxey, yeah, get paid, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Get paid.
You brought this one up, so we'll go into it. Boston signing Jason Tatum, 5-year, $314 million. Before you say anything, they owe 4 to 5 players $900 million over the next 4 to 5 years. First thing I'll say is they're not all going to play throughout their whole contract in Boston. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that part. They're not going to play the whole contract. Like, I think Jason Tatum has a better chance of being in Boston for his entire career than Jaylen Brown does. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, they just won a title. Now, the Jaylen Brown one still doesn't make sense, but he was the Finals MVP and was a huge reason why they won the title. Jason Tatum is probably the better player. I'd say not by much, but I think he's a better player. 2 years ago, I probably would have said no. Like it was a clear gap between him and Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is a lot better than people want to give him credit for. But Jason Tatum, I think, is still like the superstar on that team. So yeah, I mean, it's like you got to pay a guy like that. Did you see what LeBron's 3-year max contract would be? 3 years at 165 per year, or 165.
Really?
Yeah, 3 years for 165. That's a lot.
That's like 55 million or so.
Yeah.
That's up there.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of money. But I mean, Derek White got paid too.
He did. They all just got a bag. And then they're trying to sell the team too.
I can't believe, dude. Like, I can't believe, like, only in sports. Derek White isn't like, I would say
not the first or second or third, not even fourth.
Bro, I would say he's like a top 50 player. He's not like 20. He's not top 30. He's top 40, I guess, because he can play really well both sides of the court. But like, damn, bro, you're not even.
And these are guaranteed.
You're not even approaching like your position or like managerial status at your position. That would be like me getting paid twice as much as the CEO or like the COO or whatever. Like, but like, whatever, dude, they can get it. And when you win a title and you are a significant piece of that puzzle, which he was, but again, like you said, not the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, like maybe the sixth option on that team. You're getting like $130.
Exactly. Yeah. So my final one for you, speaking of ones that if you're an analyst and you're essentially making CEO money, Isaiah Hartenstein. He got 3 years, $87 million to play with the Thunder.
That's crazy. You know who I'm gonna say this right now. I have nothing to back it other than a few things I've heard in the free agency wind. I would keep an eye on Markkanen from the Jazz.
Yes.
Going to the Lakers.
Really? Over the Warriors?
I would keep an eye on that. I would keep an eye on that because he was super well with AD and LeBron. Because AD could go back to the 5 or to the 4, and he can play the 5. I'm just saying. I don't know anything. I don't have the connects, but I'm just saying what a couple things I've heard. So we'll leave it at that.
I mean, you guys have one connect, but until then, I digress. The last thing I want to bring up in terms of the NBA, there's 3 teams that are stupid. Detroit, I will add Chicago, and Washington. Charlotte doesn't count. They're just trying to get rid of their owner right now. But Detroit just signed Cade Cunningham to a 5-year, $226 million contract. They also just paid Nick Batum. No, sorry, Tobias Harris more money. Yeah. Those two always switch. They just brought him back.
Is a goddamn thief.
He over $300 million,
bro. And he's maybe been at best the third option on a team, like at best, right? Like when he was on the Sixers and they had James Harden, he was a distant third option. But I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, shout out to Tobias Harris, dude, for getting paid. Like he's good. He's done. Like like you can punch out now, dude. You're good.
He doesn't
Unless
have to
you
do
like,
anything.
unless you want to win a title. I don't know. Like Detroit's not the place, but whatever.
He doesn't
Good for
have to
these
do
guys though, I
anything.
guess.
So that's
No.
kind of the big thing for me. I will never be mad at somebody for getting their bag. Always get your check, whatever. The owners have enough money to do all this, but the amount of money they're throwing around is insane. Like
Yeah.
all of these max contracts that you have. So even like Cade's contract, I'm not mad at him for getting that money. Get it. If they're going to be stupid enough to give it to you, so be it. But do you know how much Detroit is paying two different people? You're paying Monty Williams and you're paying Cade
Yep.
Cunningham over $300 million.
And one of them is not even living in Detroit
Once,
anymore.
no. So that's kind of the crazy part. Let's not get
Yeah.
started also on the trade they did when they end up getting James Wiseman when they just got someone else's trash. And the Warriors were like, yeah, he's not good at all. But if you guys want him, so be it. Just be our guest and take him. But we're going to swing over into some finance stuff and then we'll go into some of the basketball stuff, not named the NBA and then the NFL. The first one that I do want to bring up is the second apron. So it's something that is a lot financially that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. And it snuck in there because of all these big three teams and big four teams that are being created. A lot of people are like, well, what is the first apron? The first apron is really just a luxury tax that you have to end up paying dollar for dollar after you end up going over that salary cap amount. But then the next part is the second apron, whereas you get penalized within picks wise, if you go over that whole salary cap thing and you try to end up making these superstar teams and you go to the back of the line, basically. So let's say you had the second pick in the draft, but salary cap wise, you're so high in the luxury tax, they just are going to put you at the number 30 pick. No matter what is going on, they're just going to move you to number 30. You don't get any of the mid-level exemptions. Players that are out there, you will not be eligible to get any of the buyout players that are out there. So like when Russell Westbrook and all those different players were available, you wouldn't be eligible for that if you're messed up with the second apron rule. And a lot of people are saying, well, what does any of this matter? Because the Clippers use this language 2 to 3 times as to why they didn't end up bringing in Paul George, which I believe it's bullshit that they did that. They more so, it's kind of like when you're at work and some shit goes wrong and they say, yeah, the manager told me to do this. When you can just use the excuse the manager, because nobody's going to go get the manager in that situation because they're just like, whatever. So it's like this. They'll say, oh, second apron, this is the reason why we did it. So Paul George is gone. James Harden's not going to be there probably. And then it's just going to be Kawhi Leonard. But that's a short version of what the second apron is. Most people in the world will never need to understand this information. The ones that really do care are going to be your agents because it really impacts them in terms of how much sometimes they can ask for their different clients, whether it is the coach trying to get money. That's not the second apron side, but they care about it because maybe if the coach has players that they're being an agent for, it impacts them in terms of understanding just what's going on with salary caps and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole. So shout out to the people on Twitter that take the time to
Yeah.
end up understanding this information, and then I can kind of dissect it that way. Teams, so they are saying, okay, then who are the teams that are impacted? It's your small market teams that are always going to be impacted by this because if they go over to try to get the players, then you give them the 30th pick, they're not going to get shit ever. Like those teams are just going to be the same. Milwaukee's going to be in the same situation every single year. Um, Indiana is going to be in that same situation. Minnesota is going to be in those same situations if they keep going over, and then they have to deal with the luxury tax and then have to deal with the second apron. Whereas LA, they don't care. They have the money. Think of LA very similar to if the New York Yankees had to be in like a cap situation. They would just be hitting the luxury tax every single damn year,
Every
and
year.
it wouldn't even matter. And then they would have to deal with all this different shit. So the way the Yankees can do it, put a cap. That's how the Lakers are able to do it. The Warriors would never run into a situation like that because they draft a lot of their players. So they kind of manage their contracts better. Look at the Boston Celtics. So that's the team they bring up because of all this money. And then they're saying, watch Brad Stevens not even be there for the whole 4 to 5 years and just make that someone else's problem.
Did you
Because,
see that
yeah,
that the Celtics are being sold, or they're going to be sold?
yes, yeah,
And
there,
I heard it's going to be in the neighborhood of $4 billion.
yep.
I
I
also heard that when they bought the team,
3 to 4
it was
00.
like $320 million or some shit like that,
Yeah,
as opposed to what it's going to be is $4
that's
billion, which
huge.
is fucking crazy.
Yes.
That is
He
so much money.
I was talking to my brother about this the other day, and I said they're doing it at the best time ever. This is essentially in the
Mhm.
stock market, they say sell the top. This is exactly what he's doing. We just won a championship, and
Yeah,
now we have the most championships. Oh, here, go ahead, take the franchise.
value's not
Like,
going to
we
be
don't
any
care.
higher.
It won't be. It can honestly, maybe it'll go up a smidgen, but you're the most valuable right there in terms of the NBA. Yes, the Lakers are, but in terms of basketball history, the Celtics are up there, and then they have the money that's going to be there. So that's kind of a big thing in terms of what the Boston Celtics are doing. So shout out to the owner. I'm not going to get mad
Yeah,
at him for selling it. Then you don't have to deal with the contracts either. Oh, just get out of all the problems before it
and
happens.
you're just chilling, dude.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
chilling. Mm.
Yeah. So final thing I want to just mention in terms of finances and stuff is so Robinhood's one of their former commissioners is potentially going to be a part of Donald Trump's cabinet as the
Mm.
SEC commissioner if any of that ends up happening. So a lot of people are saying he's focusing on that for a crypto reason, but then on the flip side, Robinhood has started to focus more on crypto itself. So just pay attention to kind of all of that realm in terms of what Robinhood does. Start to watch what's happening with this ETH ETF news that is going on. And then when that does finally get officially passed and on the stock exchange, then watch for if it's going to be Solana, or if it's going to be Ripple, or if it's going to be a meme coin bucket. That's going to be the next ETF that does go on. Finally, a big thing people are talking about is interest rate cuts. If they end up doing interest rate cuts in September or October, it would only be because to make the economy look like something it's not. This is a terrible time to do interest rate cuts. I was listening to one of my friends that lives in Houston, and he said 10 years ago, you could end up buying 5, 6 bedroom houses for around $300,000, maybe 400,000. He said those same houses now are going for 8 to 900,000, close to $1 million, which is wild because Houston was never that expensive type of area. And now look at how much they're going for. So that's kind of another thing that I think is crazy. But we're going to segue now back into sports and stuff. First thing I just want to touch on is the Big Three. So I did go to the Big Three when it was in Baltimore. One of the dopest experience, I think. I had Rudy Gay was there, Mario Chalmers was there, Carmelo Anthony was there. Of course, your old
Squad.
heads were there, like Julius Irving, Charles Oakley, Nick Young was out there too.
Squad.
Corey Brewer was there. So you got to see a mixture of people. It was wild because George Gervin was there, and I tried to tell people that's George Gervin. And they were like, the big guy. I said, yeah, he wasn't always that big, but that's kind of how he looks now. Yeah. And so you saw him, but the star of the show was really Carmelo. As soon as Carmelo went in, everyone was yelling everywhere to the point that so Lisa Leslie wanted a picture with somebody, and then Carmelo's son, Kyan, had to take the picture. Name how many times he's gonna have to take pictures for people and not be
Yeah,
in the pictures.
every time.
So yeah, so that kind of just tells you that whole thing that went on there. Final thing before we go into our NFC West talk. Have you watched any of track in terms of Noah Lyles?
I have, yes.
I feel so bad for the rest of the world because if you have a man pulling out Yu-Gi-Oh cards on you, you really don't have any chances
And
at
just
all.
on the flip side, if you're pulling a Yu-Gi-Oh card, you better be shattering
You
world
better.
records.
Yes.
Not putting up with that shit.
No.
Embarrassing.
So
Jesus.
imagine if you pulled it out and you lost.
Nope.
So our final thing we're going to go into is the NFL, so the NFC West. So I'm going to run
Mhm.
through all of mine. Just for anyone that doesn't know, we do quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, O-line, defense, and then the pick. So I'll just run through it all, and then Steven, you can end up going with yours.
Cool.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the NFC West teams, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, the quarterback position, right now, I only can fully see one. There's another one that potentially could be that one. But Matthew Stafford, he's kind of proven it. As long as he's healthy, I'm going to go with him a little bit more than Brock Purdy. Running back, Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers. You can't go against them. Wide receivers, I'm going with the Seahawks by a smidge because JSN and DK Metcalf. I don't really know what's going to happen with Tyler Lockett. 49ers are right behind them, but they have too many question marks there for me. And the Rams, they need another year to prove to me what Puka Nacua and them are doing. The Cardinals, I only know of one, and he hasn't even played a down yet in the NFL. Tight ends, until proven otherwise, I'm going with George Kittle and the San Francisco 49ers. Seahawks, I kind of want to see what's happening there. Trey McBride is one that can be a star, but we haven't seen it over time yet. It was kind of just 1 year that he had nobody else there. Just to focus in on offense, O-line. As long as Trent Williams is there, it's always going to be the San Francisco 49ers for me. In terms of defense, I have to go with the 49ers because the Rams lost Aaron Donald. And then going into my picks, so this is one of my favorite picks, but it's an asterisk depending on what the 49ers do. Ricky Pearsall going to the San Francisco 49ers, but it won't be as promising and positive if they keep both of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuels for next year. But down the line, I can promise you Deebo and then Brandon Ayuk are not going to be there long term. One's going to be gone because they got Ricky so soon. Another one is Brendan Jackson going to the Rams. If you also look at it, they do have Jared Verse, and then they have Braden Fisk, both from Florida State, and then they also got Brandon Jackson, aka they knew as soon as Aaron Donald stepped out that door, they had to find somebody that's going to be able to replace that or use 2 to 3 people for that. So I'm not going to just pick all number one picks. So I went Brendan Jackson on that one. And then the final one I have is Trey Benson. And you can also look at some of the San Francisco 49ers O-lines that they end up picking up. But Trey Benson is someone that I think could end up taking the place of James Conner down the road. So your show.
All right. Quarterback, I'm going with Matthew Stafford. Running back, obviously, Christian McCaffrey. If I had picked someone else, though, I'd probably go with Kenneth Walker. Receivers, I'm going to go with Seahawks again. I think Metcalf is the best receiver in the division. I love Jackson Smith and Jigba. If Tyler Lockett is there and doing what he does, and Jackson Smith and Jigba is the third option, I think he's probably the best third option in the division as well. I think he has a lot of potential. But I do love Marvin Harrison Jr., but we got to see how that goes. Tight end, yes. George Kittle. Offensive line, yes. San Francisco, Trent Williams. Defense, I'd probably go with why the Niners. They do have to replace you know what I'm talking about.
Chase.
Yeah. Yeah. Who the guy towards Achilles, linebacker for the Niners. Wasn't that
Oh yeah, I know
Greenlaw.
who you're talking.
Yes.
Greenlaw?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But they still have
Super
Fred Warner
Bowl when he was about to run on the field.
So very random. I don't think he'll play. But anyway, I still think they have the best. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, 2 of the best defensive players in the league for sure. So I'll go with the Niners on defense. Draft wise, I think I'll probably go Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best pick because his potential is, the best out of anybody. Maybe in the draft. The pick of Blake Corum, I don't think Blake Corum is going to be what he was in college. I think he's not going to be that good of an NFL running back, personally. I think he's going to be a better version of what Mike Hart was, if Michigan fans remember Mike Hart. But I still think he can, provide something for the team for sure. He'll bring something. I do like Byron Murphy going to Seattle, defensive tackle out of Texas. Not as productive as maybe he should have been, but I still think it's a good pick. I do also like Xavier Thomas, outside linebacker, kind of DN from Clemson. Really highly recruited guy. I think he was like top 5 recruit coming out, 5-star, all that. Didn't live up to the hype, but had some flashes. 5th round pick. I'm not sure what you expect from that, but he's a guy who has a ton of upside for the 5th round. But I think overall best pick was Marvin Harrison Jr. for sure. If Kyler Murray's healthy, and you give him
That's
that type of
solid.
weapon, yeah, I mean, he's gonna stay healthy, of course. And he's gonna like James Conner still there, not maybe what he was, but still there. They have a decent offensive line. Needs to be better, obviously. Kyler
Mhm.
Murray's got to not get hurt. But having a weapon like that, NFL ready since the day he got on campus in Columbus. Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. So just to finish things off, what you got?
Um, I will not be here for the fourth. My mother-in-law has a beach house down in
Mm.
Delaware, down in
You,
Selbyville, Delaware.
yo,
Um,
everyone at my job is going to Delaware.
yeah, I don't know. There's no state taxes there, which is dope.
Yeah.
But it's like the neighborhood we live in, but like on steroids. They have a golf course. Is way more money down there. It's crazy.
Hmm.
So we're going down there tomorrow. Be back Sunday. So with the fam. Shout out to the homies. BJ's gonna be
Shout
there.
out.
Shout out to
Oh shoot.
BJ.
Shout out.
Shout out to Loonies. The Loonies on Saturday
That's
night.
a good place.
Shit's dangerous over there, but nonetheless, what you got?
So I'm going to Atlantic City, which is going to be crazy in itself. On Saturday, they said we all have to wear jerseys at the beach. I don't know what this is going to entail with 9 dudes just going to the beach wearing jerseys. Next week,
Yo,
I
you
have
gotta,
some.
you cannot,
Yes.
you cannot. Either that or like show up late or some shit. No, I get it. Like if it's not planned, yeah, that's cool. But in like 9 dudes, it's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Tough luck.
So it's 9 dudes in a house, and then we're going to the beach for the weekend. Next week, I have some stories because this week we had another black guy in the office. For anyone that doesn't know, we have 2 black guys, and then a third one came in. It felt like I was in the movie Get Out, I promise you. And I was just trying to avoid it because they just both kind of shook my hand, and I said, "This is weird." But until next time, we'll have beach stories. We out.
Deuces.